Hello and welcome to a very different kind of video for my channel, and for this new format I wanted to kick this off by talking about watches. As many of you who follow me on Instagram probably know, I have a modest collection of watches and I really like sharing and talking about them. So what I thought I'd do is give you, the audience, a full history of my watch obsession, and who knows, hopefully a lot of you watching are new to the watch hobby, and my history and my mistakes and my successes can hopefully help you with your watch obsession. Or you could, I don't know, just watch, learn about watches by watching. I don't know, I mean, if you're still here, you're probably interested. So we'll do that then. A little background on me: I'm 22 years old. I'm a acting student getting a BFA in acting. I don't have too much income to spend on watches, but I still spend probably more than I should. So this is a good look at an affordable watch collection. So I want to kick this off by letting you know that I am not in LA where I normally live. I've narrowly escaped the jaws of COVID. I've basically run out to the desert. So I'm growing a beard. It doesn't look pretty, but I mean, who cares? I'm basically Obi-Wan Kenobi if he was a 22-year-old student who had an obsession with watches. So I figure, I don't know, let's see what happens. But when I did run away to the desert, I couldn't take my entire watch collection with me. So we're going to have a really in-depth look at the few watches that I did take with me, which are really the most special watches to me. And I want to talk about all the watches that I own right now. So the ones that I didn't take with me, I'll just briefly touch on with some pre-existing footage, probably that I've taken from my archive on Instagram. So it'll be vertical, just have to put up with it. Sorry about that, but that's all I can really do. And who knows, if you like this, maybe I'll post some more watch content on here. If you like my point of view and talking about watches, I am by no means an expert on watches, so bear that in mind as I divulge information to you. This is coming from a fan of watches, never worked in the field of watches. This is the first proper video on watches I've ever done, so let's see how it goes. Maybe there'll be more. Okay, so I'm going to do this in chronological order, so I'm going to start with the oldest watch I own, and then go on to my most recent purchase. So to start with, we actually have a watch that I don't have with me right now, so we're going to use the Instagram footage, sorry about that. But it is the Diesel DZ7195. It's a watch I had in middle school. It's quite blingy, hip-hoppy, if that's a word. It's not really a watch I'd recommend buying. It's a bit like a Casio F91W, except bigger and more expensive. And the other thing with it is I have no idea how to adjust the time on that goddamn watch. I've tried so many things. I'm gonna get comments down below that says, oh, it's so easy, you just do this. I don't know. I can't do it. It was fine in Arizona because we are more civilized and don't do the stupidity that's daylight savings, the bane to anyone's existence who has more than 0 watches. But in LA, I just put it in a box for half the year because it doesn't show the right time and I have no idea how to adjust it. So I didn't really take it with me because I don't really wear it half the time. The next watch, one of my favourites actually, it's the second oldest watch I have, and that is the good old-fashioned GShock. This particular one is the GW-500A. I think I've worn this watch more than any other watch I've owned. Yeah, it was a watch for my 14th birthday. I wore it pretty much every single day throughout high school. And then it stayed in a box, completely in the dark, from December 2015 till May 2019. When I got it out, it was completely dead, but I just put it outside for a few days, and it still works absolutely fine. It syncs to the atomic clock, so it's always accurate. you can't go wrong with a G-Shock. They'll last you pretty much forever. If you get the solar one, which this is, you don't need to worry about the batteries or anything. You just put it outside every once in a while and the batteries charge up. Perfect beta watch. This one is sub $100 for solar, which is pretty good. Got a backlight. The one complaint I have with this watch is that it's not compatible with any adapters. For example, J's and K's, that's a good company that does G-Shock adapters, but they don't have one for this kind of G-Shock. So I am stuck with the rubber strap, which I would like to get a NATO for this. A NATO strap, it's basically one long strip of fabric, so if one end of your watch gets disconnected, your watch is safe and still on there. But I can't have one on this, which is the pretty much the one complaint I have with this watch. It's got plenty of scratches, plenty of battle scars, but that's really what you want in a G-Shock. Alright, my next watch is why the G-Shock was put in a box for so many years, and if there are any watch fans watching this, I do apologise, but yeah, I like it. Although if there are any watch fans watching this, I'm gonna annoy pretty much every watch fan with at least one of my watches for this video, so you have that to look forward to. But the next watch that I owned after the G-Shock was one of these, an Apple Watch. They're just really useful. I mean, if you wear a watch to give you information on your wrist, you can't do better than an Apple Watch. Especially as a student, they are perfect for students. You can have it set up so that you can see your calendar as one of the complications, so you can see the next event in your calendar, where it is, and how long it's going to be. So you can have, if you have a class coming up, you can have the room number, what time you have to be there, how long the class is going to be. It's perfect. Also, if you're a student, maybe you could, if you have a test coming up, just text yourself all the answers, and then when you're sitting the exam, just, have a sneaky look down at your wrist. Obviously, I would never do that. It's immoral and wrong, so you shouldn't do it either. The first Apple Watch I actually had, I wore daily, and I did all sorts of stuff with it. I swam with it. I was at a party once, and I threw it into a swimming pool, much to the surprise of everybody watching. I keep saying watch. I guess that's just going to happen, isn't it? But I wore it pretty much every day, did everything in it from December 2015 to November 2018, so quite a long time, and then this happened. And it happened at a really inopportune time, because I was in school at the time. I didn't have that much income to buy a new one, but I was going away on holiday in a few weeks, so I desperately just ran down to the shop and bought a new watch. Pretty much the cheapest one I could find that, was a name that I recognised. But, yeah, if it's your sort of thing, I couldn't recommend it highly enough. Very good watch. The one I have now, again, isn't the original. I got this one second-hand. It was really cheap. I mean, if you're going to get one of these, just get an older one pre-owned. You can get them for under 50 pretty much. This looks like a NATO strap, but it isn't, which I didn't know when I bought it, but I'm actually kind of glad because I can put it on my Apple Watch and still get the heart rate data. But this is from Champanado Club. I'll link them down in the description. They do a lot of motorsport inspired bands, and I've also put a butterfly clasp on it because I bought the wrong size butterfly clasp for one of my other watches, but it fit this strap. So, yeah, I've got a NATO on a butterfly clasp. Come at me. I like a lot of ludicrous things. You'll get a bigger sense of that later on. Another watch that I actually got as a Christmas or a birthday present while I had the Apple Watch was a ICE BMW, reference number 001120. Didn't really wear it that much, although I started wearing it after my Apple Watch broke. In fact, my favourite video that I have on my channel, I'm actually wearing the BMW ICE watch.
I don't know. What time is it now?
I can't read digital. Wait, hang on. It's 8. It's 8. It's 8.
I can confirm.
I've got it on a proper NATO strap right now, and the NATO strap I have it on, I actually got at a Fossil outlet store for $1. So if you're ever in an outlet mall and they've got a Fossil shop, it's worth popping in, even if you're not trying to find a watch. I got a NATO strap for $1 there, and it's a really good NATO strap, one of the best ones I own, actually. Alright. This watch. This is the watch. After my Apple Watch broke, I desperately needed another watch ASAP, so I ran out to Nordstrom Rack, and I bought the cheapest watch that had a name I recognized on it, and that name was Movement. Yeah, MVNT. I have a Movement. I didn't buy it to judge it or make a video on it like most watch YouTubers. I bought it because it was under $50 in Nordstrom Rack, and I needed a watch. And for under $50, it's not a bad watch. I would by no means recommend you buy a Movement watch at retail or even over $50, because they're just not worth it. But if you look in a Nordstrom Rack and you find one for $50 or below, and you like the look of it, first of all, just buy it. They're not awful. Although if you do find a Movement watch on their website that you really like, and you don't really care about the name on the dial, search up Minimalist Watch on AliExpress. They have a lot of watches that look suspiciously like Movement watches, except with no name on them, and they're $10 or under. But Nordstrom Rack, that's the place to go if you want a Movement watch for some reason. I wouldn't recommend them, and I actually bought one to wear. Although I will say the Movement watch I have, I actually wore snorkeling, and it still works, so they're not awful. That's another watch I have on a NATO strap as well. Alright, speaking of Nordstrom Rack, this is another watch that I actually took with me, or one of them. I do have 2 watches of this name, and that is Ted Baker. These retail for about $120, but again, in Nordstrom Rack, you can get them for under $50, and they're just really good-looking watches. I love Ted Baker. It's one of my favourite names of clothing, and they go well with Ted Baker clothes. They're really nice designs, good build quality as far as I can tell. For $120, I'd look at an Orient Bambino or something like that, but for under $50, you could do a lot worse than a Ted Baker. So if you do want a fashion watch, Nordstrom Rack is the place to go. Or, I don't know, Kohl's, JCPenney. There's so many places that carry these things that you can get for very, very little money compared to what you would spend retail on a Movement or a Daniel Wellington. God, thank God I don't have one of those. That would have been a huge waste of money. Alright, moving on to, in many ways, my first proper watch, if you don't consider the GShock to be a proper watch, because it's cheap. But my first proper analog watch, and that would be my Citizen Stiletto. Right now I've got it on this really cheap and horrible strap from AliExpress. Actually, the butterfly clasp, which is ultimately what made me buy this for, I think it was like $4 or something like that. The butterfly clasp is quite good, so maybe if I can find the link to this again, I will link it down below, but pretty much I just bought myself a butterfly clasp with a strap attached. Yeah, it's not the best strap, which is kind of funny, because this, retail-wise, is the most expensive watch in my collection, but it just looks gorgeous, this watch. Sapphire glass, super reflective, which I don't really mind that much in a dress watch. It's only 5mm thick, which is the thinnest watch that I've really looked at. I know there's thinner watches out there, but this is definitely up there. As thin as you really could ever want. And of course it has a Quartz Eco Drive powered movement which you really can't go wrong with. It's fantastic, the Eco Drive. It uses natural and artificial light to power it, so you pretty much don't ever have to worry about changing the battery, and because it's quartz, you don't really need to service it. Yeah, the reason I went for this Citizen is because it doesn't have a second hand, so it feels really expensive, like an automatic or something like that, but you get the practicality of the Eco Drive and just the super minimalist look. You can pick these up now for just under $200, so if you've ever considered buying a Daniel Wellington, just get one of these. The dial looks incredible in person, and yeah, it's a gorgeous watch. Fantastic alternative to a Daniel Wellington. And for sub $500, there aren't many dress watches that have this one beat. So, really great watch, the Citizen Stiletto. Alright, I want to paint a picture for you before I show you the next few watches I've bought. I was working in the summer. Over summer, had plenty of disposable income, and Prime Day came up. So within a month, I bought 4 watches on Amazon Prime, which I really don't recommend. When you buy a watch, you really want to just obsess over it for a really long time before you finally pull the trigger and buy it, and then you just can't wait for it to arrive because you've been thinking about nothing else but this watch for so long. I didn't really do that with a lot of these next few watches, and I don't really regret buying them, but I don't think I'd buy them again. And that's not really something you want with something as special as a watch collection. So the first watch that I got off Amazon Prime Day, you've probably seen a video on this watch. Lots of YouTubers have covered this watch, but it is an Invicta Pro Diver 9204, the Submariner homage, pretty much. However, this one is actually the quartz. A lot of the videos you've probably seen cover the automatic version, and to be honest, I kind of wish I would have gotten the automatic version. It's twice the price, but I just like automatics better. But there it is. It's quartz. The reason I bought it, really, I was just in a watch buying frenzy, and it was under $30, which this is a fantastic looking watch for under $30. One of the things that's different with the quartz one than the automatic one that I can gather from the many videos is that the crown does turn. It's Jesus. I've owned this watch for half a year, and I had not gotten the crown to turn, but oh my god, I have to get it all the way round now so it looks right. Oh my god. I had tried so many times to turn the crown on this, and it just would not... Yeah, no, okay, it's going now. Jeez, I've been trying for however long, and it's only halfway round, so I guess the crown does turn on both the versions, never mind, but the crown action isn't great on this watch. If you do want a Submariner homage, I think you're better off going on AliExpress and looking at a Pagani design or a Loriot, because those ones are automatic movement with sapphire glass, and from what I've seen, decent build quality for $75, so cheaper than the Invicta with better specs. I wouldn't recommend the Invicta Pro Diver, but I'll link it down below anyway, because if for $30, it's fine. Alright, this next watch has actually grown on me a lot since I first bought it, and that is the Citizen Chandler CA0621-05L. Very catchy name, I know. Here it is. This is another one I bought on Prime Day. And I bought this one because I'd been looking at some Fossil watches that had the blue face, white numerals, and a brown strap. And I just really wanted one. So when it came to Prime Day, I had seen these before. I had a look. They were on sale ever so slightly, under 150. So I picked one up. It's weird. It's really grown on me, this watch. I didn't like it that much when I first got it. It's got a mecha quartz movement, which means that you don't really see the ticking that much on it, and then when the chronograph is going, it pretty much looks automatic, which is fantastic. Again, another eco drive, so I never have to worry about servicing it or changing the battery, which I really like. I think one of the things that annoys me most about quartz watches is knowing that one day I will have to just throw away the battery that's in it and then replace it with a new one, and that just doesn't sit right with me anymore. Yeah, the strap, I just bought pretty much the cheapest, reasonably priced brown suede strap I could find on Amazon. It's by a company called Each. I'll link to it down in the description below. Definitely needs a clean, the strap on this watch, so I'll have to get that sorted out. Not the best quality, the strap, but for, I think it was like $15 or something. Good enough. Really, you get what you pay for, and you're definitely getting good value for money with the strap on this one. And for the watch as a whole, actually, for around $150. Retail is like $250. I wouldn't recommend this at that price, but $150 for a chronograph like this, couldn't go wrong, except for one of the watches I have later on I think is actually better value for money, but we'll get to that. Alright, and then once again, another watch that I didn't bother bringing with me, partly because I don't really wear it that much, and also because it's just too big and cumbersome to take with me. But the final watch that I bought on Prime Day in that go was an Invicta 6977. It's basically just a big stupid Invicta. It's not the only watch like that I own, but it was around $40 on Prime Day, something like that. So if you want that kind of watch, and I think, you know, having a nice diverse collection was something I wanted. So having a big stupid Invicta that goes with enough trendy clothing that I own wasn't the worst thing for $40. I wouldn't recommend it. I bought it a bit too soon, because I think if I thought about it more, I wouldn't have bought it. But basically, I just liked the date wheel being shown through half the dial. That's pretty much the only reason I bought it. Wouldn't recommend it, but I'll link to it down below in case you want a big stupid Invicta for $40. Could do a lot worse. Oh, this watch. If I haven't lost you with the movement or the other two Invictas, I'm going to. This watch, I thought about it for about 2 days. I didn't think about it that much. I didn't really obsess over it as much as I think you should. Like, if you can't stop thinking about a watch for like a week, then I'd say pull the trigger. But this one, I just got a little too in the moment when I bought it. It's an Invicta 26545. It's a Boba Fett Invicta. Actually, the first mechanical watch I ever bought. So that's a significant part of history in my collection. It's ridiculous. That's what it's for. It mostly just sits in a box and looks ridiculous. I don't know, I bought it for around $75, and it's numbered. They only built 1977 or 1977, and it's individually numbered on the back, which is pretty nice, but I wouldn't recommend it. I probably wouldn't buy it again, but I guess I have a limited edition watch, individually numbered, so there you go. I think I like that more than I actually like Boba Fett on the dial. And then because I bought that watch, I bought a winder to go with it because it's automatic. I'll talk about accessories at the end, but then it was so big it scratched the winder. So I had this winder, didn't have any watches for it, so I did what I have already said you shouldn't do, and sort of rushed buying this next watch, but I think it worked out well. It's the Seiko SNKP25. I actually really love the look of this watch. You can pick these up for just under $150. Automatic. The thing with this watch is it's pretty much lived on a winder the whole time I've had it. And now that I've run away, I didn't bring my winder with me, and it turns out this has a power reserve of 4 hours maybe. and it's really annoying to set with the day-date complication. But again, it does look just amazing, in my opinion. I love the look of this watch. I love this watch, really. I should probably wear it more. The strap I have on it is fantastic. I got it from Holben's, a really good watch strap retailer. It's by a German company called Rios 1931. The thing with watch straps, there's a few watches in my collection, this is one of them, where I didn't really fall in love with it at first, but then I started looking for a strap, and I think this strap makes this watch. It didn't really feel complete until I put it on this strap, and that's really what you want in a watch strap. So if you do have a watch and you're not really falling in love with it, try buying a strap for it. It completely changes a watch and can make it into something that it can make it into a forever watch that you never want to get rid of. So that's the Seiko, actually my only Seiko in my collection. My next watch is my favourite. It's the one I've been wearing on my wrist this whole time. This is the Tissot V8 Swissmatic T1064 071 103101. I'm pretty sure that's the reference number. I don't know for sure, but here it is. It's got a German Fulco strap, again from Holben's. I'll link down to both the Holben's straps. Actually, all three Holben's straps, spoiler alert, in the description down below. Again, another strap that I think just absolutely makes this watch. I bought it because I really wanted a Swiss automatic, and this was sub $300 with a sapphire crystal, seemed like the best deal at the time, and I've absolutely just fallen in love with it. It's inspired by the automotive industry, with the dials sort of imitating the upholstery that you would find in a mid-50s car. So I've experimented with a few motorsport-inspired straps on this, including this rally strap, obviously. Of course, when I ran away, I didn't really bring any straps with me, so all the watches that I have are on the straps that I left with, otherwise I'd have some better footage of my watches in different straps. A lot of watch for under $300. I don't think I'd recommend any other watch more for under $300 than this one. Definitely buy it again. I've taken it on trips before, and it's got over 3 days power reserve I've gotten out of it. Manual wind. Can't get mine to hack. Same with the Seiko from before. It didn't have manual wind or hacking. This one does have manual wind, but I can't get it to hack. Maybe these do hack and mine just doesn't. I mean, after all, I did think that my Invicta bezel didn't turn, so maybe I'm just inconfident. Alright, last watch, I promise. This one is probably the chronograph I would recommend most. It is a Pagani design. I don't have the reference number here, but it's a Daytona homage. I bought this watch because I really, really wanted a panda dial. A panda dial is a chronograph where the face is white and all the dials are black. And this was by far the cheapest one that I could find. Best specs as well of all the quartz panda dials I had been looking at. It's got a Seiko Mecha Quartz movement. So it has that really nice sweep that almost makes it look automatic. I bought it under $50 on the AliExpress 11/11 sale, so fantastic value for that. I didn't really fall in love with it at first though. It came with a bracelet which I thought didn't really suit the watch that much, which is weird because it's pretty much modelled exactly after a Rolex, but I just didn't think it looked right. And then it also came with a leather strap that was, well, leather strap, really cheap and awful, but I thought it looked better than the bracelet. I just don't really like bracelets that much. I much prefer a leather strap. But then I bought this strap off Holben's. This is from a company called Hewlett. Fantastic strap. I think it really just pulls the whole thing together and is like a full panda strap and dial. It may not be to everyone's taste, but I just love the way that this looks. The strap actually cost almost as much as the watch on this one, but I think it was well worth it. Yeah, this is one of the watches I think is absolutely made by its strap. And so yeah, those are my watches. I figure I might as well talk about some of the accessories I use in case you find it useful. So what I don't have with me back in LA is a watch box. I forget the name, but I bought it at Steinmart. If you're looking for a watch box, definitely look in Steinmart, because I bought it for around $20 there, and it's such a nice case. It's really built really well, made of leather. It's green, which may not be to everyone's taste, but for $20, it's fantastic. One of the best watch-related purchases I've made, actually. And then I also have the watch winder. It works fine. It may have killed my Seiko. I don't know, I'm not an expert, but I'll link down to the watch winder below that I use, because I've had it for about 6 months now and it still works. And then we move on to what I brought my watches here with. There's this triple tree watch roll. I bought super cheap watch rolls on AliExpress before, but they didn't have the dividers in the middle so that your watches could actually touch each other and rub up against each other and scratch, which isn't good. So this one has the dividers, under $20, fantastic purchase. I actually bought this as a secret Santa for my roommate, and he seemed to love it a lot. He has a collection of only Vincero watches. I don't know. Takes all sorts, I guess. And then I have another watch roll called a Sena. I would actually recommend this more than the Triple Tree, although it is over twice the price. This one I actually bought at the Apple store because it's actually marketed as an Apple Watch strap holder. So it's got a little pocket in the front, the size of an Apple Watch, but you could easily fit 5 watches. It takes up less room than the Triple Tree, but you can fit 2 more watches in it, and they're all nice and protected in here. Yeah, this is a good purchase. About $50 you can pick up one of these for. Really nice feel and quality to it as well. Link to all the stuff I recommend in the description down below. So yeah, that's my sort of journey in the world of watches. I did have some really cheap watches before the Diesel and the GShock, but I won't really touch on them. The thing I've learnt most on this small journey of mine in accumulating this modest collection is only buy a watch if you really truly love it. If you've looked at it, you've tried it on in an AD, you just can't stop thinking about it, then it's time to pull the trigger. Another lesson I've learned, try to stick to watch brands that make watches. The fashion watches are nice for the price, but only for the price. If you're spending more than $100 on a watch, go with a company that actually just makes watches, not a brand that you recognize from the clothing you wear or the bags that you buy. And also, Invicta is not a high-end watch brand. I spent years looking at all these Invictas in Costco and online and that sort of thing. I'm like, oh shit, it's an Invicta. That's a proper watch brand. I can get that for a great price. It's a steal. They must be losing money. No. Think of Invictas the same way you think of fashion watches. Buy it because it looks good and for the price. Don't think with Invictas, oh, this is this upper echelon watch brand that I'm getting an amazing price on. I thought that for years, but it just isn't the case. It's just very clever marketing on Invicta's part. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Consider liking and subscribing. There might be more watch content coming soon to my channel. I don't know, I'm trying to put out a video every Sunday. I don't know what the next one's going to be. Well, I do know what the next one's going to be. I'm not looking forward to it. But, yeah, if you like this, let me know. Drop a like, comment, and there could be more watch content from my mouth into your screen.